Well, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jules. And we doing Film On. Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Jules.
And I'm Jason.
And
we
doing Spookies. TM. So, man, we watched a movie.
Yep.
It was a spooky. Well, it was kind of nerve-inducing. I mean, not for me. But I'm sure people are probably on edge when they watched it.
You were scared. You were so scared.
So when I pulled up the thumbnail when I rented it, I don't know what you watched it on, but
did you get the Alice Cooper cover or the green light pulling the head in?
I don't even know what the cover was, but the thumbnail was the lady with the icky skin.
Oh yeah,
reaching into the mirror. I saw that. I was like, boy, I'm about to eat some pasta. I should probably eat that first.
Yeah.
Because I figured it was going to just be like...
It's a bit gross.
Skin melting.
It's not super gross, but it is gross.
Yeah, like the last 10 minutes.
Pretty gooey.
Uh-huh.
I was eating on the couch down here watching it.
What were you eating?
Mexican hamburger.
Oh, hamburguiso?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The unhoused lady.
In the very beginning?
Well, kind of when she like goes up to the Donald Pleasance with
yeah.
the cup and like he sees in the cup like maggots or worms.
Uh-huh.
It looks gross in there. I was like, all right, how about some red letter media? I could, that's probably not going to be revolting while I try to eat this squishy burger.
I thought she was going to try to give him a blowjob.
Yeah?
Because she's like...
It's so wonderful what you're doing, Father. Opening the church again.
And like puts her head like by his hand or something?
Isn't John Carpenter pretty not sexual?
I don't know.
He's not a shitter like that?
Yeah. Oh, maybe they're going to try to like fuck with this priest or whatever, but they don't. He's never in danger.
I thought Alice Cooper was more of a...
Well, he's in danger once, but
yeah.
You thought he was going to be in it more?
Yeah, I guess I thought he was the devil.
Kind of felt like, yeah, as soon as I saw him, I was like, whoa, why is he super white in the head only? And then he disappears, doesn't he? He doesn't really...
We should do a synopsis and an introduction for this film.
Let's get in that.
Prince of Darkness, rated R, from 1987, a horror fantasy movie that runs 1 hour and 42 minutes. Directed by John Carpenter. Poking around in a church cellar, a priest, Donald Pleasance, finds an otherworldly vial filled with slime. Frightened, he brings his discovery to a circle of top scholars and scientists. We eventually learn that the strange liquid is the essence of Satan.
Mm-hmm.
The slime then begins to seep out, turning some of the academics into zombified killers. As the possessed battle the survivors, student Kelly, Susan Blanchard, is infected by a large quantity of the liquid and becomes Satan personified. Does she, though? Is she Satan?
I guess brunette,
we'll get to it.
Susan?
The blonde with the melting skin?
The blonde? No.
Because Satan is inside the liquid mirror, right?
Yeah. I don't understand.
Or is that the son of Satan and she is Satan? Because I thought they said that Satan's son is what was packed away into the never.
The container was buried somewhere in the Middle East eons ago by, gets a little wild here, the father of Satan.
Oh, does she say father? Is that what she says?
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be it then. Because the hand she pulls out is like the devil hand from Legend.
Yeah.
It's like the corniest devil hand.
Man, I didn't really like this movie that much.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked it quite a bit.
I have always put off watching this movie because I thought it would be a super bummer. And I liked it all right, but I also thought it was relatively stupid.
I mean, there's elements that, like, what's that guy's name? So Dennis Dunn, he was also in Big Trouble in Little China. The young guy who ran around with Kirk Douglas.
Oh, yeah. I like him.
And Victor Wong.
Yep, also in Big Trouble.
Also in Big Trouble. It was nice seeing them as just guys. He was a little annoying, though.
I mean, he's a obnoxious ladies' man. Like, remember when he drops that joke when he's trapped in the room?
Oh, the joke to break the ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, I love being dominated by women.
Stupid.
Yeah. Earlier, he makes a comment to the other Asian person.
Lisa. That she could pass for Asian?
Yeah.
Anyone ever tell you that you could pass for Asian?
Is she not Asian? She seems like she must be Latino for him to be saying that.
I don't know. Her name is Ann Yen.
Oh, God.
That's what I didn't understand. I didn't know if he was saying that because she was an Asian, or if he was saying it because she, to him, was acting white or something. It's hard to say.
Man, he doesn't seem like he follows the cultural stereotypes at all. He's just like a dude.
Exactly, which is, so it's like, well, What the heck? The heck's going on here? Yeah, I didn't look up anything for this movie.
Can I tell you a secret shame I have?
Yes, please.
Somewhat attracted to possessed women, even when they're scary and pale.
Oh.
And even when it's super nefarious, I'm still like...
You wanted them to vomit in your mouth.
I didn't, but I wish that not that I wish. Different circumstances with scary ladies sounds kind of cool, but I guess that's maybe just residual childhood fantasies.
Oh, really? Yeah,
I'm a creep.
So, yeah, this movie...
It just starts with the dying priest,
With the dying
right?
priest, yeah.
He's got the little lockbox.
And correct me if I'm wrong, not that it really matters, but it felt like the score never stopped. It was just always sort of in the background. Maybe when they got intimate, it stopped, but...
Okay.
Just always just like... in the background.
I mean, it was very noticeable that it was... I did notice it lots.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
It got me pumped, man. Yeah, so the movie starts, priest is dead. He dies in a almost comical fashion.
Laying in his bed?
Not
What?
Not the circumstances surrounding his death, his performance. He kind of just like puts his head back and opens his mouth. I'm like, is he dying or is he like accepting donations?
That's his soul escaping through his mouth.
I guess. Donald Pleasance arrives. He's a priest as well. He's talking to this nurse. He's like, or a nun. And he's like,
Why was he here?
she goes,
He had an appointment with His Eminence this afternoon.
it's like, well, why is he in bed? But he had a little treasure chest on him. You know, he finds his diary, which alludes to some sort of a nefarious or shadowy cult or sect.
The Brotherhood of Sleep.
Within the Catholic Church. And in the box is a big-ass key. So with that, Donald Pleasance starts, going down this rabbit hole. He knows the key unlocks this big-ass metal door that he said the priest had opened up every morning in a church that had been shut down for a few years.
I think since like the 60s.
In the 1950s, my husband's parents used to come here. And then for some reason it was closed down.
Yeah, it had been a minute. The priest was a part of this group,
The Brotherhood of Sleep.
which had apparently been guarding some secret or something for millennia. And so like the priest, they pass their position on when they're about to die to another dude who, then does this thing.
What do they do, man? They just go to that room and make sure none of the goo's escaping?
Apparently.
Oh.
Because it doesn't seem like there's really anything you can do.
Why is the goo sentient? How does it start leaving once that priest dies?
I don't know. Because, yeah, it seems fine. And then Susan goes down there. And now it's just spilling out onto the ceiling.
Lots of it.
And
There's a pool.
And they said it had a weird locking mechanism that could only be opened from the inside.
It's incredibly elaborate. Right here, there's a weird locking mechanism. It looks like it can only be opened from the inside.
That seems like a poor idea.
So maybe they were doing some specific chant or...
To keep it locked?
every morning, yeah. They go down.
Oh, maybe. That's a good idea. Oh.
Because it locks from the inside. So if you're not doing something, then what would stop it from unlocking?
Because it's liquid.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it looks like the Matrix code.
Yeah.
Just kind of swirling about in there. So somehow, Donald Pleasance is like hip to all of this stuff. The basic idea is that the devil isn't the devil as we know it. It's this goop or whatever. But they couldn't define what it was back, in the dawn of man or whatever. So they invented the idea of the devil as we know it to sort of scare people into doing good, hoping that down the road, science would be able to ultimately then explain it and reveal to the world that this shit really exists.
Finally, they determine Christ is crazy, but he's also gaining power, converting a lot of people to his beliefs, so they kill him. But his disciples keep the secret and hide it from civilization until man could develop a science sophisticated enough to prove what Christ was saying.
And they even say at one point that for every, it's as fine as like an atom or a molecule or something. And for every good one that we see, there's a bad one in a mirror dimension. Basically, Stranger Things before Stranger Things.
Yeah. So, how do people know that it's bad back in the past? It's just green goo? When did it go into the tube?
No idea.
Did they find it in the tube and word was just passed on that it's bad stuff?
It's unclear because we don't know if this exists. Is this based around the idea that man had then only been around for a few thousand years or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, didn't they say they found evidence of stuff being millions of years old in this movie?
I thought so, but
yeah,
they said...
Talking about 7 million years.
Yeah, were they doing carbon dating?
Yeah.
I think.
Because the blonde lady, she's like, well, why don't we just take direct samples?
Carpenter wrote it, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did he?
I guess he wrote everything, right? Except for Christine?
So, Donald Pleasance, he's like, all right, check it out, man. I got to go get this guy who's a professor, rope him into coming here and helping me. So there's like an eclipse that's on the precipice of happening this whole time, which I don't know if that coincides with...
Does that play into anything ultimately?
Maybe
when the devil rises, it'll be darkness?
Well, they kept showing it, so I'm like, oh, maybe there's like a countdown that we're going to find out. Like, oh, on this day, That doesn't appear to be the case. The professor, along with the priest, he ropes in all of his students. One of them looks like a mustachioed Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, what is he? He's from Simon and Simon?
A lot of these characters were like on like Police Woman and old stories.
He's got such a crazy ass name. It's not Dirk Diggler. It's the guy who's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine now.
Not Dirk Blocker.
It is Dirk Blocker.
Yeah, he's an old hand. He'd been around in Hollywood for a while.
Yeah, he's in Starman for a moment as a police officer. He's pretty terrible. Like
in here?
Yeah.
The character or the actor?
The actor.
Yeah.
Like, I guess they pick him for his look, his kind of crazy look. A lot of his reaction shots, you're just like, what? That's what you got?
Yeah.
You've already been acting for 20 years at this point, Dirk Blocker. How are you such good buddies with John Carpenter? Do you guys hang out?
They smoke weed together, probably. I thought Brian Marsh, who played Jameson Parker, the mustachioed Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a creep.
Yeah, he's following that girl around campus watching her.
Big time.
Yeah, he's super creepy.
And then, like, when they finally chat, he says something really weird, like...
Every theoretical physicist I know wonders why it is that no one who looks like you ever seems to settle down in our end of the building.
And she's like...
That's not true, and that's an extremely sexist thing to say.
And he goes...
Confirmed sexist. I'm proud of it.
And she's like, all right, well, I'm going to go. And he's like, wait, baby, I didn't...
What happened?
I didn't mean for our first meeting to go this way. How about we chat?
This is our Kurt Russell for this movie. This is who we're supposed to be locked in on.
Yeah, man, I don't know, because not that any of them look young.
Yeah, no,
but
they all
he especially does not strike me as like a first or second year grad student, unless he waited a while.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's about 32.
I guess. I thought he looked like he was like 40.
Maybe he already has a house.
And a wife.
Take my wife, please.
So they hook up. We don't see them have dinner, but that seems to have already happened the next time he runs into her. Because he's like, how about coffee?
Actually, I was hoping you'd have a cup of coffee with me again.
She's like, oh, we shouldn't make a habit of this or whatever. And then they go to bed together. And he wakes up and he's just like, I got her. And he like goes in outside and he looks at the eclipse. Comes back in with 2 cups of coffee. She's asleep still. And he like crawls into bed. She wakes up, what? And he just puts the coffee in her hand. She's like, oh, great. I normally like to at least sit up before I'm handed coffee. So she just sets it down right away.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be pumped to have a coffee given to me the second I'm awake.
No, it's almost like, drink this, get out.
What?
So he's like, I want to tell you something. And she's like, don't. But they do this thing where it seems like he's about to tell her that he loves her. And she's like, don't do that.
I appreciate the one sex. I love you.
Yeah, she's like, look, tell me in a couple of weeks or a couple of months maybe.
Yeah, a little soon.
You know, was he a virgin?
Could it be love? I know what an erection feels like.
So then they go back to school and that's when everybody's like, oh, the professor wants us to go to this thing over the weekend. And he won't tell us why.
That's not all. A couple of biochemistry's finest are coming with us.
So, they start amassing their gear and there's a couple other folk that he wrangles in. Susan, Dirk Blocker, that one guy who...
Dirk Blocker looks fucking old as hell, too.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, but he's not a student, I don't think.
What is he?
I don't know what he is, but...
Fucking sandwich eater? He looks like he should be eating sandwiches and spilling it everywhere.
Because Susan, I think they keep calling her the radiologist.
Who? Radiologist?
Oh, okay.
So I think these folk are actually, like, professionals. But they also bring in Peter Jason.
Yeah, that guy. He's in lots of stuff. I was like, is that Meatloaf? No, it's that guy that looks like Meatloaf.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, it's fucking Meatloaf. And I was like, oh, no, it's that one guy. And then they bring in Jesse Lawrence Ferguson and Tom Bray, who kind of looks like Egon mixed with Sam Raimi's brother.
Yeah.
The guy who gets stabbed with a bike.
I liked that guy.
Yeah.
He seemed weirdly timeless.
Well, because he was like the only one not going to be there the whole weekend. He was just getting them set up because he was going to go do something else for this other guy. So nobody knows what they're doing there.
Well, what are we actually doing here?
They're just setting up like a shit ton of gear. While this is all happening, homeless people are slowly starting to descend on the building. And are just standing around. That's when you mentioned the lady with the worm cup. She's like hanging out with the Lost Boys or something.
They're only noodles, Michael.
Alice Cooper is just like menacing this whole time. And there's some weird occurrences. They keep showing ants. After they had sex, there was ants on his TV for some reason.
Yeah, on the back of it.
On the back of it, yeah. Now we're just basically at the church. They're doing their science stuff. He takes them downstairs to show them what they're doing there without telling them, I think still. One of them is like a languageologist.
I'm getting my doctorate in theology. Analysis of ancient scriptures.
Is that Lisa?
Lisa. So she's decoding this manuscript that they found, which itself had been erased and written over and was in like Greek and all sorts of gibberish and numbers. She's like, I can do the language, but I can't do the numbers.
Except for the numbers.
And then the redhead lady, who Jason Sudeikis loves, she's doing math, just typing out math and shit. They're downstairs, they're kind of doing some atmospheric tests, and blonde lady bumps her elbow on a piece of equipment and starts bruising like immediately.
I don't get this either, man.
I don't either. Like, why is she marked? Well, she gets marked, but so now it's pretty much just like character interaction.
I'm Calder, microbiology.
Brian Marsh.
Walter.
Lomax Engineering. Biochemistry.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Lomax.
The wisecracker, he's being a wiseacre. Dirk Blocker, he reminds me of Kyle Gass. He's not really doing anything, but
no,
he seems like a nice guy, actually.
Does.
When he's down there with Susan, he's like, you want me to hang around?
He looks like he's going to be a super creep.
He does.
But he's not.
He's not, and it takes him a while to even become like a threat. So basically, worms are appearing on the windows, and the Egon looking...
So fucking stupid, man.
It's that part doesn't quite
why
make
are
sense.
there worms on a window?
Yeah, like why? I can understand. We learn later that there's like some sort of a psychic energy emanating from this location that's sort of infiltrating people's minds, which is why the homeless folk, I guess they're more susceptible. So
I think it's because they're supposed to be paranoid schizophrenics,
they're all
right?
schizophrenic.
Yeah, that lady lumps them all together. You know, if you see a homeless person...
They're supposed to have stereotype routines that they repeat every 20 minutes or so. You know, like a stuck record in their brains repeating the same phrase over and over. Well, I have been watching them on and off all day, and they don't seem to be making any movements. They just stand there.
With those kinds of problems, I say let them stand there if they want to.
Well, in Alice Cooper, I think his character's name is like Hobo Schizo. So the Egon Spangler kid, he's like, well, I'm going to get out of here. He goes outside, and immediately he sees a crucified pigeon.
Yeah, that's creepy.
And it is creepy, and he's like, what the hell? So he goes down these little stairs into sort of like the back alley area that's kind of like walled around. And he's looking at this thing. He's like, what? And then he looks to his right, down like the alley itself, and Alice Cooper's comes walking up.
Nice and slow.
Nice and slow. The guy's like, and he picks up a half of a bike that has a spear on it.
I think it's supposed to be, they took the handlebars off, so it's pokeable.
Well, you would have had to have cut the top bracket off the front of it and then sharpened it.
Okay, well, they didn't know about bikes back then.
Well, just have a
spear?
Glass bottle or some shit.
Man, this is great, though.
Because then he looks up, he turns around like, I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah.
And at the top, now there's a bunch of hobos, and the one in the front's got a big metal pipe.
Yeah.
And they're menacing.
It's scary, dude. He fucked himself. He walked right into a little trap. He got himself caught in a little narrow alleyway. Escape.
I would have tried to have maybe jumped up the little wall.
Yep.
Or just rush Alice Cooper. Instead, he just stands there as Alice Cooper marches the bike into his chest.
I mean, isn't he looking behind him and then when he decides to move forward, Cooper's there and just...
Maybe.
Basically, it's like he's
he's
bread. He just goes right into him.
We would do the same thing. Yeah. We'd be dead meat.
Oh, I don't know. I'm pretty scared. I think once I saw Alice Cooper, I might have been running. I don't know if the other guys would have had time to get me.
True.
I would have said, fuck!
True that. True dat.
Yeah, I'm a scared guy.
And then when he stabs him with the bike, he does this dumb thing where, because it's like a wheel, he falls into it and it's like propping him up.
I thought that was great.
You think he's like that the whole night?
Yeah.
And nobody...
He's not... there is 2 bodies laying on the ground when somebody eventually escapes at the end. So maybe he fell over, yeah.
Okay. And nobody sees that happen.
No. He's just gone.
He's just dead. And he was leaving anyway, so he's not missing. Susan's downstairs. She sees the goop on the ceiling. The ecto cooler is just pouring out.
Yep.
And it comes in her mouth.
This is so stupid.
Because she's standing there like with her mouth agape, just staring at it.
I can't even handle this because this happens several times in this movie where it's just a super soaker stream of goo blasting people in their mouth. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
it's a whack effect.
Man, it's like they aren't giving John Carpenter money anymore.
He must have blown it all on the mirror effects, which themselves aren't like mind-blowing, but they're nice.
I don't like this movie.
So now she's possessed.
Yep.
She goes ape shit. And people are still just doing their science stuff, and they're slowly starting to understand what they're there to do. Some people are like,
Listen, do you realize what's going on up there? We are on the brink of the ultimate truth.
Oh, this priest is a real case. He is Looney Tunes. And I'm beginning to wonder about Byrack, too.
And then Dirk Grogler, what's his name?
Dirk Blocker.
Dirk Blocker.
This gotta be a made-up name, right?
Yeah. I wonder if they based Dirk Diggler on him.
No. John Holmes.
So he's like, where's Susan? We got to find Susan. And Dennis, you done? He goes, oh, she's just down there. This is after he told that lady she could pass for Asian. And he goes, where? I don't see her. And he goes, man, she's right. She was right there. Because now she's like milling around ominously. So Dirk goes down to look for her, and she breaks his neck.
Yeah. That's so stupid, too. She just walks right behind him. He's like, huh, what's going on? Just a twist. It wasn't really. It was not a good. His neck break. It's not a good effect now. And later on, when he's resurrected, it doesn't look like he's got his head tilted as though his neck's been broken. Can we do something with this, guys? Can this look cool?
Here's
Can
my
he look
question.
Dead? Yes.
She spits in everybody else's mouth.
Yeah.
Why didn't she just spit in this guy's mouth?
And why has he come back?
Does she spit in his mouth at all?
No.
Thereafter?
Why is he resurrected?
That's a good question.
Some of them said, they say? Hope that you die, so you don't get involved in this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah.
Why he no released?
Weird.
Why he gotta be here for the bad times?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird, because he doesn't show up until like halfway through the movie again. And in fact, when Dennis Dunn goes down there to look for him with this other guy, they're down in that area. And like, we don't know where he went. He's not just laying on the ground?
Should be laying right there.
He should be
right by all the equipment. Yeah.
By the equipment. Now she's running amok. You know, people are starting to fall asleep and have a dream.
Yep.
They're all sharing the same dream. It's like, I guess they filmed this using a cassette and then recorded it playing off of a TV and filmed it recording that. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's one of the better parts of the movie.
It's the church. It's like a camera is walking along the fence, like spying.
There's a black figure at the doorway.
Yeah, talking about...
We are from the year
199. Whoa. 1991? When is it? You know? So, you know, basically, one dude, he's like, man, I'm going to get out of here. This is whack. And the 2 other dudes are like, I don't know, bro. We're like about to discover everything. And they go inside. The guy's just standing out there looking like Phil Collins.
What am I going to... Man, this is stupid, but I'm just going to hang out in this parking lot and think about how it's stupid.
Yeah, like 50 feet away from the building. Like, should I go in? Should I record another song?
This area is not fenced in.
Apparently not. I don't know where this is.
It's like the back of the church, and there's other buildings in the background. There isn't like a wall trapping them in or anything.
No. And it's a big, cause
it's like a giant parking lot.
Yeah, so he like all of a sudden looks over his shoulder and there's just a line of hobos.
Yeah. Basically on where your escape route would be, they're spread out.
I guess.
Yeah.
And then he turns back around and now Susan is up on the balcony.
Oh man, cool! It's Susan. Hey, Susan.
But she's got bugs on her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
he's got bugs on him.
Well, yeah, and he's it's on my fingers.
Beetles.
Big beetles. And in fact, when he's stomping around, he's killing them.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that shit now. They'd be like Beatlemania.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I know they're just bugs, but you probably shouldn't.
They wouldn't nowadays. They would just do CGI because
it would look like shit.
Right. So all of a sudden, this homeless woman comes running down with a half of a shear, just starts stabbing on his ass.
That's not Susan that does it?
No, it's some hobo lady.
Oh, it's the lady with the cup of worms.
It is, yes, yep. Who somehow has just half of a shear.
Wow, she's a collector.
I guess. And so she stabs the fuck out of him.
It's a lot. It's like 30 stabs.
But not only that, when we see from like a little bit further back, his hand is cut off.
Yeah.
His leg is cut off.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
didn't notice the leg, but I saw the hand.
With
and I was like,
scissors?
Really?
She's passionate.
Hey, man, got that devil power.
So now we're really starting to ramp things up.
Yeah.
They're having the same dream. People are being picked off left and right. Susan's going around. She spits into Lisa's mouth.
Yep.
Lisa's like, I'm going to go lay down.
Oh, I like this part.
And then all of a sudden, Susan's just climbing up the cot.
See, this is the weird pervy thing I got going on.
Well, because Lisa doesn't do anything.
She just lays there.
She
She's
just
like, huh?
lays there while Susan makes her way up her entire body.
Yeah,
and then it's just over her.
Yep.
I'm like, all right.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I know she's bad, but
she's possessed.
You seem open to this.
And then what does she say? Like, I'm tired, or not like, what are you doing? Or like push her off. So then Susan just starts vomiting in her mouth.
Excuse me, but I...
And now she's got it. And they're kind of going around. Who else do they? They get the black guy. They spit in his mouth.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
He's weird.
He is weird. Jesse Lawrence Ferguson.
Is he in stuff?
I don't know. In this picture, he's dressed like... This is probably from Star Trek, I bet you. He's in Boys in the Hood. He's in Dark Man.
Is he the mean cop in Boys in the Hood?
Well, one of them is Bernie Mac, isn't it?
I hate your black skin. I hate your black pants. I hate black pepper. I hate black keys on the piano.
I don't remember. I haven't seen that since I was young.
Yeah, me either. Boy. Officer Coffee.
He might be the mean cop.
Might be. They use the same picture of him dressed in like this weird garb. It's almost like heritage garb. I bet you that's from like... No, he's only been in movies. He wasn't in Star Trek.
Is Big Trouble in Little China's the movie right before this, right?
Sounds about right. Goodbye, Cruel World he was in.
Man, I was following along with the Blank Check Boys doing the John Carpenter movies, and I made it a half hour to that Big Trouble in Little China and said no.
Mm-hmm. I like that movie.
And I almost watched this for months, and I just, I'm glad I didn't, because then we'd have to rewatch it now.
Yeah.
And I don't like it enough.
Well, I wouldn't have picked it if you'd already seen it, or that you had already seen it but didn't like it. I remember the Red Letter Media Boys did all of Carpenter's movies.
Man, everybody got on the Carpenter train for a minute there.
Yeah, that was last year, I think. Jay and Rich.
Yeah, I think the Blank Check thing was like last summer. A year ago.
He's holding a gun to Cuba, so that must be him and Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
It's just a gun, and that's a picture put next to it, but I think they're linking the two. Oh yeah, there's him in a cop uniform. Looking all pissed and shit.
Yeah, I think he's the mean cop.
Tough, huh? Oh. You're scared now. I like that.
So it's weird because they get him, right? They ooze him.
But he's still got some like him left in him, or what?
I don't know, because he's like walking up the stairs, dragging a chair, singing. Of all things.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm like,
slave song.
Yeah, like, what is this?
Appropriate.
And then he like breaks a piece of the chair when they come running out. Oh no, because right before that, I think is when they look out the window and they see the guy, Phil Collins guy.
Hey, Wyndham!
Yeah, and he's dead. And
he's like, I have bad news you don't want to hear. He's Sling Blade now.
I'm to kill you with it.
And they're like, what the hell? And he all of a sudden his hand falls off.
What is he doing initially when they spot him out there?
Just standing.
Is he just going, hey?
I think so. Yeah. He's over here.
I've got a message for you, and you're not going to like it.
Look at his chest.
And then he just crumbles into bugs.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh my God. And then they hear a guy doing this rendition of Swing Low. They run out to the hallway. And
hey, friend, what's going on with you? I'm going to kill myself.
He rips off a piece of the chair and like cuts his throat. And they bandage him up and shit. But it's weird because he's not like Susan and Lisa.
Nope.
Who are just like...
fully under the control of the devil.
Yeah, I mean, they're like blank expressions. They don't speak. They just move robotically. So he's fucked up now. Eventually they get Meatloaf And also eventually the blonde lady goes to lay down and we see on her arm, the redhead, she goes, "What's that on your arm? Oh my God." And she's like, "Oh, I bumped it." She shows it.
It looks like a figure.
It's like Prince's insignia. Yeah. Right? It's like a cross, but there's a circle swoop on the bottom or some shit. You don't just get that.
This looks like a figure or something. No, I gotta close my eyes.
Okay. I'll wake you.
No, from a bruise?
No.
Did you?
It's like
Were you in a car accident and that was somewhere on the dashboard?
Yeah, it's like, did you get branded at Bonnaroo? What the fuck's going on here?
Well, it finally stopped hurting. It's fine.
Girl, I'm just tired. I'm gonna go lay down. And so Susan and Lisa drag that goop all the way upstairs. Nobody hears or sees it. And now it's pouring into the ceiling upstairs. And that's when, God, I keep forgetting that guy's name. Why is that? What does that say about me?
Mustache?
No.
Donald Pleasance?
No.
Dirk Blocker?
No. Dennis Dunn. He plays Walter.
Anyone ever tell you that you could pass for
They're
an
all
Asian?
looking for people and shit. He comes into the room and he sees that all of the goop is just flying into the blonde lady's eyeballs and mouth. He falls over because Lisa and Susan are there or whatever. And then Jason Sudeikis comes running down and he meets... No, they separate. They go into different rooms? I don't know. He knocks down the one guy who looks like Meatloaf, and we see Dirk Blocker now, Calder, Jesse Lawrence Ferguson. He's around, and eventually they go into a room and block themselves in. The professor, Mustache,
Redhead.
this other guy, and Redhead. And then Dennis Dunn, he goes into a closet and locks himself in there so that the ladies can't get him.
And Donald Pleasance is off to a third room.
He's the first one who runs away. He goes into like a boiler room or some shit across the hall. And he's just in the corner like, oh my God. And basically this blonde lady has now got something in her that's incubating. It seems, because she's pregnant.
She's got a pregnant belly.
You know,
her skin is developing sores.
But then the belly goes away because Dennis is like, oh, she must have absorbed it now, and now it's incubating, or she's changing, or it sounds like her bones are changing, he says. So they can hear him through the wall, and it's daytime now, and they're like, hey, Dennis Dunn, we're going to break the wall down, and we're going to save you. He's like, okay, how long is that going to take? And they're like, several hours, because they've got a wooden table leg with like a metal bracket jutting out the end of it.
That wouldn't work.
And she's like, breaks through the drywall. Fine, sure.
Yeah.
Now there's brick. And they're in there carving the brick, pulling it out. And Dennis Dunn tells his horrible joke. Do we want to say it?
I can't even remember it, but I remember being stupid.
He's like...
A Jewish mother goes to the airport to meet her daughter. The daughter steps off the plane with an 8-foot-tall Zulu warrior with a bone through his nose. The mother screams, "You fool! I said a rich doctor!"
Not a witch doctor.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Uh-huh. And nobody laughs, of course.
Yeah.
The blonde lady, eventually she wakes up. And Donald Pleasance is hiding behind the furnace.
And the blonde lady's full on goo right now.
Yeah,
her skin is pretty much gone.
She's practically Freddy Krueger, but wet. And Jesse Lawrence Ferguson, his character wanders into the room. He breaks into the room where Donald Pleasance is. And he's like... because he sees himself in this huge mirror. And he just walks over to the mirror and he's just staring at himself, weeping. He's like, oh my God, I look so good, or something. And Dennis Dunn, they're starting to break through the door because she's using her psychic powers that she has.
Yep, she's got powers.
Psychokinesis.
And he's
Devil
like, y'all gotta get me out of here, oh my God. So he starts breaking on the fucking wall and they break through. And they pull him through, but Lisa's on him. So she comes with him.
This the Lisa they pull through and are hitting with bricks is clearly a man in a wig.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like they're not sure if they should hit him in the head or not. They hit him in the head and then they start hitting him in the back and then in the head again just to test the water. And there's a window right there. And I'm like, just throw that bitch out the window. And they do.
Yeah.
Dennis Dunn just tosses
Oh,
her.
she's probably the second body that's laying out there. Maybe.
Of course. Because then Susan comes through.
Somebody else goes through the window later, too.
Susan comes through and they throw her through the window. So now they're both dead on the ground, I guess.
Rad.
You know, they broke their necks.
Yeah, I guess you can't smash them to death with bricks.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work because they're full of the devil. But tossing them on a second-story window, they both die instantly when they hit the ground.
And sorry, I forgot about this part. Before they pull Dennis Dunn through, Mustache, he jumps out the window.
Oh yeah, what is his plan here?
I don't know. He jumps down the window. He's in the alley now.
The death alley.
And they know there's bums on either end. They've
so
seen them already. So he jumps down and now they start walking towards him and they're like, dude, get up here. Get up here. It's like, what was the plan?
I thought he was going to get it.
I did too. But he's able to jump up and they grab him and they pull it in and then he's fine. Makes no sense. And so now the two chicks are out the window. Mustache, he already left to go do something. And he beats up Meatloaf. And now he's struggling with Ferguson at the end of the hall because he came out to hear the kerfuffle. And they spit, Dirk spits in the mouth of the other guy.
Oh, yeah, the guy with longer hair.
He freaks out and falls, and we never see him get up. But later we see the smoke leaving his mouth.
Okay.
So I guess he was just unconscious, but he was possessed. So they beat on Dirk, they beat on Meatloaf, and now the blonde lady, she picks up a compact. She like puts her hands through it.
She's like, Father.
To the other side, right? Because they're talking about mirrors. Now she's in the room with Donald Pleasance, looking in the big mirror, and she's like reaching in. And we see her on the water side, grabbing a big mitt. And Donald Pleasance knocks over something, and it reveals a sledgehammer and an axe.
Chops off her arm.
He's like, oh, Lord, forgive me. I'm about to go crazy on this bitch. And he chops off her arm, yeah, and it floats. But then she
grows one right back, dude.
How?
So, devil power,
I guess.
So then he chops off her fucking head.
And she picks it up, bloop,
puts it right back on.
Donald Pleasance, and she slams him with the furnace.
She laughs at him. She's got her lip is gooier now, so it doesn't even look like it's there.
Yeah, she pins him against the wall with the furnace. She's back in the mirror. She's pulling the devil out. We see the devil hand. It's red, like black, hoof-like fingernails and shit.
Yeah.
And the redhead now is in the hallway. Mustache is getting beat up still, and Meatloaf is getting up behind her. For some reason, Dennis Dunn and the professor are still in the other room, and she just calls an audible, runs and tackles the lady through the mirror. They both fall through the mirror, and then Donald Pleasance throws the axe and smashes
instantaneously.
it. Yeah, like they knew that was the plan.
And do you see her floating? Like instantly right now.
Lifelessly.
Oh, I don't know that she's dead. I think she's
just
just in the water. She can't get to it.
Oh, maybe it's slow
I think
motion
it's
on the other
sadder. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think she's dead, dude.
Okay.
I think it's going to be very bad for her on that side of the mirror.
And Mustache has lost it.
Yeah.
That was my wife.
I had our whole lives planned out. We're going to have 3 children. Name them all Jorma.
Question.
Yes?
Could she have just pushed or drop kicked the lady through the mirror? You think she had to go in with her?
Yeah, I think you need to have the force to go all the way in there.
Because the devil's coming out. And
I mean, what were you going to do? Like, she can't come back through. If she can get back through, the other ones can get back through. You got to break the window.
No, I'm breaking it. That's the no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if she could have just came up and really shoulder thrusted her in there.
I just don't think so. But I mean, I guess. If
if the other 2 dudes who were apparently doing nothing could have helped out too. Dennis and Dr. Squinty Eye.
I don't like this movie, dude.
I did.
I thought this was relatively boring.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I liked it quite a bit.
A lot of the dialogue was bad.
Well, yeah, but I didn't really care about that.
Like, I've seen some pretty cool John Carpenter movies, and this did not feel like one of them.
I guess I'm not looking at it through the lens of being a Carpenter movie. I liked the idea... Oh, so before we really just do an overall here. So she's gone. Dennis Dunn runs downstairs and just jumps out and runs away.
Yeah, he's done. He's out of here.
He went to go get help.
Oh, is that what I thought?
Because he's standing
like,
there in a shock blanket while they're pulling out the bodies. So I guess I thought, yeah, he was just like, fuck this. I got a date.
I had a date tonight with this beautiful young trial attorney from Century City.
But I guess he went to go get help. The bums walk away. I think the eclipse stops. Donald Pleasance is like, I did it. Talking to the professor. I stopped him. Like
Donald Pleasance did nothing for anybody.
The future conjured up by that vile serpent.
I think we're going to have a lot of explaining to do.
Oh, I guess he broke that mirror.
He did.
Sure, there you go. You did it, buddy.
They're going to need to explain themselves.
Yeah, that's a lot of dead bodies. Really, all you can say is like, the homeless people attacked us. That's the only thing you can say.
The only saving grace is that it looks like they were blocked in from the outside. But still, there's going to be some questions.
So then afterwards, Mustache goes to sleep.
He has weird nipples, by the way.
I didn't know.
They're almost like concave.
Okay.
Very disturbing. But he's like buff, too. It's weird. It's like cut to hell. He dreams that she's in the doorway. Right?
In 1999.
This whole time it was her. And then he wakes up and looks to his right and she's all melted. And then he wakes up again. I don't really like the double wake ups.
No.
I've never woken up in a dream from a dream, only to then wake up from that dream.
Like that quickly?
Yeah.
Because I've definitely gone from thinking I'm awake and then realizing it's still a dream, but you're still floating around in there for a while.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
I think that's usually like anxiety dreams.
Oh, sure. So then he gets up, walks over to the mirror, and he slowly reaches towards it. Before he touches it, it cuts.
Yeah.
Which, there were never reflections in the mirror that the lady was putting her hand through.
No, it was a pool of liquid. And why would that ever occur again?
And why would you do it?
Yeah.
You're not the devil.
Right.
You know, so kind of a dumb cliffhanger.
I just feel like this movie got really uninteresting pretty fast. I'm not exactly sure when it happens, but it's just picking people off. The special effects are like not cool. It's just squirt guns out of the mouths again and again. Devil at the end, I guess that was kind of cool. Mushy lady, I didn't really like a ton.
Okay, the character or the...
Like when she's mushy.
Okay.
And like that's the bad guy. I like that she was undefeatable.
You know what she looked like? The aliens from They Live.
Oh, yeah, if you put on the glasses.
Yeah.
I've got one that can see.
Wetter.
And in color. And, you know, it's funny because when they tackled the Calder guy, and he's unconscious while they're pumping him full of the juice.
Oh, yeah.
She just starts making out with him.
Bro, I like that one too.
Yeah. It sounded... the effect of her filling him up was just like, yeah, like an espresso machine or something.
Like if you stuck your sink sprayer into a bottle and pressed it, you would hear...
Yeah.
They probably use that
And
sound?
they filled him the fuck up. It wasn't just a squirt like everybody else. She was pumping him, man.
Oh, man.
Hot shit. And then Lisa was holding him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Too bad that stuff apparently tastes real bad and makes you a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because then once they smash the mirror, smoke escapes everybody. But they're still dead, I assume.
Yeah.
Dirk's still broken-necked and shit.
Yeah.
The other guy shouldn't be dead. He didn't die. He just got juiced and fell down. Meatloaf shouldn't be dead either because nobody killed him.
Maybe the juice. You get the juice, you don't come back.
I guess. But now all the juice is in the mirror because it was in the lady.
Mirror juice.
So now there is no more juice. So there's no more bad guys. It was nice seeing Dennis Dunn again, outside of a sort of stereotypical Asian role.
Yeah.
Same thing for Victor Wong. Donald Pleasance was nice. He's Donald Pleasance throughout the movie, but he's all right. Oh, most of the students were dumb. I like the redhead lady, and I like the blonde. I thought she was a pretty good actor. Nobody else really stood out to me, except for the other doctor who was whistling later, and he had... Did you notice when he was flipping that apple? Remember that in the kitchen? He's getting snacks. He's throwing the apple up, and he's like fingering it and shit. You didn't remember that? The meatloaf guy? He's smoking, I think, and he's whistling. Because Dennis Dunn is watching a cartoon where Jerry the cat? Or is Tom the cat? Tom's the cat. Because Tom cat. He falls into a cauldron in hell, and the dog is like the devil. It's like a metaphor.
Yeah.
He grabs 2 Granny Smith apples and a container of double stuffed Oreo. I didn't realize they had invented it back then. I felt like that was like a 90s thing.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you know what? I want some double stuff.
I feel like there was a period in this movie where I was like, yeah, man, John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was as we got closer to them first going to the church and probably up until, I guess, when that weird looking guy gets stabbed by the homeless lady and chopped up. I think that was the window in which I was like, yeah, cool. And then before that and after that, it's like, man.
It's interesting because, again, based on that thumbnail, I was expecting some real shit.
Yeah.
I stopped it at one point. Callie had gone to yoga at 7:30. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, okay, it's 8:30. She biked along the Greenway. And I was like, I looked outside and I'm like, oh man, it's starting to get dark early now. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break. I'm going to bike down there because I knew the general area. I'm going to run into her and then I'll bike back with her. I didn't like her biking on the Greenway at night.
Makes sense.
Especially because she's using a new bike that's like a recumbent. So she's seated. There's 2 wheels in the front and one in the back.
No, I know what a recumbent is.
But it's slightly different than one you might be thinking of where you do pedal and shit in the front, but the steering is on the sides.
Is she going fast? It doesn't seem like those ever go very fast.
Kind of. It's got a gear ratio where it doesn't really allow for speed.
So basically you're just like, hey, look at this cool bike I have. If anybody wants to steal it from me, I'm easy to catch.
Well, and not only that, but you're also vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because you're seated. If somebody fuck with me on my bike, I'm sort of upright. I can jump off.
You're ready to go?
Yeah. I could jump backwards, let it go forward, and be in standing position.
Yeah.
Grab the back wheel and start swinging it around.
Nice.
So I got home and then I'm like, I'm just going to finish this, and I look, I'm like, God, there's only 10 minutes left of this movie.
Yeah, I also stopped at 10 minutes left and had a cigarette and came back and watched the rest of it.
Because I was expecting massive amounts of gore at this point, and there really wasn't any of that.
No.
I like the idea of science needing to explain evil.
Yeah.
And that there were dudes back in the day who had the foresight to know that in order to confront this and really reveal it, we're going to need facts. And we don't have that. So we'll just make up this dumb little thing and kick it down the road. Little do they know, it goes on for 2,000 years or whatever. And I liked, it was kind of stupid, but I liked that they were 1999.
Yeah.
Because that seemed like a mystical year.
Yeah, only 12 years down the road from where they're at.
Mm-hmm. And also, because they mentioned that message is actually time travel. They recorded it in the future, and we're catching up to the broadcast, which I thought was kind of interesting. They didn't really touch on that too much.
The sleep monks?
And I think because there was no actual science that was really being used.
Yeah.
They were just talking about equations and she's a radiologist, but it wasn't like they're using the sphincter test to
sphincter says what?
to, quantify whatever.
What's a scary moment in this? I would say one of the coolest moments is that fluid half scissor coming through the air.
That was super cool, yeah.
Same fluid thing I think from The Exorcist where the nun is marching to cut off that person's head. That famous shot of down the hallway.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I think the biggest sin for this movie, now that I'm actually thinking about it and gauging your hatred for it, is that it's an hour and 20 minutes of build-up that doesn't really crescendo. Because like I said, the thrumming synth soundtrack is almost omnipresent.
Shouldn't stakes be building? Things are getting more complicated, more intense, more scary, more varied.
The intro...
Let's hang out in the hallway. Let's hang out in these rooms.
There was not a lot of solid dynamics where, Dennis Dunn is now with Dirk. It's everybody's just kind of orbiting around. For a good minute there, we don't even see the professor or Donald Pleasance.
Yeah.
Alice Cooper just vanishes.
And Dunn doesn't look safe at all the entire time he's in that closet.
No.
They're just waiting. You're not just safe.
Yeah.
They just don't care about you right now.
Right. And then also the bad entity has telekinesis.
Psychokinesis.
But only sorta. It can only split the door. It can't just blow the door open and get to him.
It seemed like it must have been able to do that, but chose not to. But I guess maybe the powers aren't all the way up yet.
I don't know. She's oh, you got to earn it, Susan.
Who?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my biggest complaint is that it kind of just fizzles. It's all makes sense and works within the story because the opening title sequence itself is prolonged. We're seeing all these interactions and then directed by and then blah, 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 all the title cards and shit. So it's man, this is going on for a while.
Yeah.
And then it gets going and it's building and I'm okay, this is interesting. And then, yeah, it just sort of
Man, I was pretty excited for a new Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
New to me. It's new to me.
And considering how high stakes it is, it's outside of this building, nobody has any idea what's happening. It isn't a world. We should have seen more instances, maybe, of the world coming apart.
I don't think it is. I think it's just in their little neighborhood.
You think the message is just broadcasting to Skid Row and that's it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't think it's...
No, this isn't Train to Busan where it's everywhere and you're just catching...
That would be kind of a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe a TV news show.
I don't think it would matter if they escaped if the world was falling apart, The bums wouldn't be keeping them there.
Well, they're keeping them there because that's the entry point for the devil. But
the devil's going to be hungry when he comes over?
Well, yeah, but it would be interesting if we saw that the message was starting to infect folk on a larger scale, because then that would give it a little bit more weight. I mean, obviously, they're stopping the devil, which is kind of meaningful.
This is kind of the end of Cool Carpenter, right? I think this is when I like In the Mouth of Madness a lot.
Is that after this?
Yeah.
Is that with the dad from Twin Peaks? Who's in that?
It's what's his face? Sam Neill.
Oh, that's right. Doesn't he do what's that guy's name? He wanted to do him, but he's a super hardcore Republican now. Ed. He was in Casino.
James Woods?
Isn't he in a vampire movie that?
Oh yeah, that movie sucks.
Oh, does it?
Vampires. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not good. And The Mouth of Madness is good. Man, all right, let's go ahead and take a peek at the list of... Because, I mean, basically...
Christine was
I fucking love
right around this time?
A couple years. What was that, like 84, 85, 86?
Okay.
Oh, man, let's fire it up here. I'm going to tell you what's up.
Please do. Somebody has to. God, it's already almost 8.
Assault on Precinct 13. Fantastic. Halloween, which I never rewatched, but pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
The Fog is fine.
I just watched that a couple years ago.
Escape from New York is pretty good. There's some things that I think are pretty stupid. The Thing is awesome. Christine's awesome. Starman's awesome. Big Trouble in Little China I didn't like.
I like it.
Prince of Darkness I didn't like. They Live, I suspect I would not
just
enjoy
watched
it
that,
anymore.
actually.
Good?
Not bad.
Okay. Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
With Chevy Chase?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He directed that?
Yeah. In the Mouth of Madness is 94.
Yeah.
Village of the Damned sucks. Escape from LA I won't watch.
Okay.
Vampires is 98. Ghosts of Mars I won't watch. The
I heard
Ward
that's
is
good.
20. Man, it can't be good. It just can't be. I remember when it came out. I remember the commercials. I remember the print ads in my comic books. I will never watch that movie.
Is Don Cheadle in that?
No, it's what? Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Ice Cube?
Ice Cube and Don Cheadle. Easy to mix the two of them up.
What space movie is Don Cheadle in? Is he in one?
He's in War Machine.
What's that?
No, it's a joke, but he's the Iron Man suit.
I know what that is. I thought he was in a fucking space movie.
He might be.
He should be, before he dies.
Man, Don Cheadle can do whatever the fuck he wants. Don Cheadle rules.
Did you ever see that movie with him and Benicio del Toro? It was a Soderbergh
Oh, the newer one?
period kind of crime caper?
Nobody Moves? Something like that?
Sure.
It was an HBO Max movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Did you see it?
No sudden move. I didn't, and I'm always like, oh, I hear that's really good, and then I don't watch
I also have heard that, and then also didn't watch it.
Oh, he was in Mission to Mars. Same thing.
All right, what are your spooky ratings on this?
Let me
fucking
ask you
turd?
this.
Oh yes, I'm ready.
Did you see the remake of Assault on Precinct 13 with what's his face?
Ethan Hawke.
Ethan
right?
Hawke, yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Mm,
I think I did.
I did.
I think I downloaded it back when I had my first apartment and watched it.
I feel like it was maybe underwhelming.
And I retained nothing of it.
Right.
But last summer, when I was driving up here to sell the house, and it was once again, much like today, I just had the house to myself. I watched Assault on Precinct 13.
I know.
And it was my favorite movie of the year.
I know
I
that.
fucking loved that movie. And I figured out I like siege movies a lot.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's so damn good.
Did you ever see The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3? Either of them?
I saw the original.
The other one had crazy John Travolta.
Yeah, I wasn't super into that.
I'm crazy! That's what he's like.
The Walter Matthau one, it was okay. I mean, people talk it up a lot. Sometimes when you fire up these movies from the 70s, it's just like, it doesn't have the feel you're looking for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Prince of Darkness had that feel for me, which is what carried it for me.
Yeah.
But rating?
Okay. So, Spookometer.
Yeah. TM and C.
Fuck. I mean, can you think of we tried to think of spooky scenes. It's got all the stuff. I guess it's like kind of gross and a little creepy.
Yeah, I'm beginning to fear that none of our movies are going to be spooky.
Yeah, I think it's probably the case, man. I think it's really hard to find a scary movie.
One might be.
What?
The Void. It's kind of creepy. Maybe gory and violent, but
it's more of an action movie.
What's even spooky?
Do
we even know?
Man, I got so scared watching The Innkeepers. So scared.
Oh.
So scared.
Is that
It's a Ty West movie.
Oh, he's directed it? Or?
Yeah. It's got Pat Healy in it, this actor.
Huh.
And they're at this hotel that's supposed to be haunted.
Yeah.
It's just the two of them working there. Fuck, bro. They built to it the whole movie and then knocked my socks off. I was snuggling the other dog we used to have.
Oh, really?
You
were scared?
Yeah, so scared. Looking
Really?
through my fingers. It might have even been the daytime when I watched it and I was scared. I don't even know, but I was fucking real scared. And nobody respects that movie.
I had two recent scary experiences with a film. One was several years ago when I was watching The Babadook.
Oh, yeah.
And that part where it's on the ceiling.
Sure.
I thought that was pretty spooky.
I think that movie does a good job of like building it up.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then
yeah.
when you start seeing the Babadook,
Yeah.
and then you get the ending.
Right.
Blech.
The other one was one of the newer It movies.
Oh, okay. Not It Follows, right? Because that one was scaring me a lot.
It was creepy and chilling. There's a part where the main boy, I think, he's in the basement of a house. I'm not sure which one.
Uh-huh.
And he sees his little brother that went missing. And he's like, why didn't you save me or something? And then all of a sudden it just like rushes the camera. And I was like, ooh, Goosebumps.
Oh, nice.
Haven't had that sensation in a while.
Dude, I think I was actually in the bathroom at the movie theater when that scene took place.
Good for you.
Bummer for me.
Yeah.
You know that It Follows. I think I watched some of it, and then I didn't watch the rest of it for a couple weeks. But in between, I was having nightmares about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Just the concept of it, like, never stopping. It could be anything.
For me, my brain ruins everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here like, so if you flew to Paris, would it just walk on the bottom of the ocean?
It's that snail conundrum. Have you read that on Reddit? You get $1 billion, but for the rest of your life, there's a snail coming after you, and it knows where you are at all times, and if it touches you, you die. And then, like, what do you do? Then people come up with all sorts of
Do you still
ideas.
age and might die otherwise?
Yeah.
Okay. What stops the snail? Nothing?
I think.
Putting a box over it?
Right. I don't know, man. I think they were talking about encasing it in cement.
Yeah. I mean, what if you flew to outer space?
Then it would probably hitch a ride on another rocket ship.
And jump out?
It's
and then
getting you, man.
Snail through space?
It follows.
Yeah. I liked the design of It Follows, but I don't know.
Oh man, we didn't even do the ratings on this thing.
We didn't.
I give this movie a spookometer. I give it 4.
Oh wow.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like other people might find it creepier than I did. It's got a bit of a creepy.
I'd say the promise is there. I'm gonna go with a 2.
Man,
it doesn't
4
really
is
do
too
anything
high.
for me. Spooky.
You want to? What do you give it as a film out of 10?
Out of 10 as a film, I'll go with a 6. Yeah. I was almost going to go with a 5, but I'm like, you know what? I could watch this again.
I would never watch it again.
I could. I might not, but I could.
Hit us up on Instagram at We Doing Filmographies.
Hit us up on Twitter, Do Filmographies.
Word. Get over on YouTube.
Yep.
We Doing Filmographies on YouTube. Got that fucking Facebook rolling.
Yeah. And we're on like every podcast thing that's worthwhile.
Right. You could rate, review, and like us. Send us a fucking email. At
We
Doing
Doing
Filmographies
at
gmail.com.
Right. We got a hotline.
Oh, yeah.
763-634-1897.
Fucking Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, man. I really had high hopes for this.
We'll see you next week. Or no, we'll see you...
Couple days.
Yeah. Remember you get 10.
Yep.
I said the F word so many times in the changeling. Is this...
Fuck?
Are we supposed... Oh, yeah. Let me clarify. Fuck. I said...
Okay.
Are we not supposed to be swearing?
Why wouldn't we?
I know. I'm just kidding. I've been Jason.
I've been Jules.
And we've been doing
spookies.
spookies.